Weeks before. All right, let's talk about hoarding, of all things. It's more common than you might think, but what is behind this disorder? How much do we really know about it? Dr. David Tolan knows a whole lot. He's a psychologist, researcher, author, TV personality, and works at Hartford Hospital. He's here to tell us about a new study underway. Always good to see you. How have you been?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Well, you're always busy doing a lot to do with this.
That's
and
true.
I've done stories with you in the past about this, and there have been other studies we've talked about. There is a new one. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, one of the things that we're learning in our research on hoarding disorder is that it can be treated. But what we're finding is that not everybody responds very well to the treatment. So we're trying to get a better look at what's happening in the brain when somebody is going through this treatment for hoarding disorder. What kinds of changes seem to be important? And then the next step is to figure out how can we change our treatments to maximize those changes in the brain.
Important to note that it is something happening in the brain. It's not just, oh, they just can't throw anything out. There's a lot at bay here.
I think a lot of the time it's easy to look at somebody with hoarding disorder and think, oh, well, this person's just lazy, or they're just a slob. And we do need to understand there's a very real problem in how the brain is functioning, that they're not processing information well, they're not making decisions well. Something is breaking down, and we need to understand what that is.
For people who are hearing the word hoarding, maybe they've watched the TV shows, maybe they know someone that has a lot of collections. What exactly is the definition of hardcore hoarding?
Good question. So hoarding is when the person is unable to let go of things. They can't throw things away. Often they can't donate them. They can't recycle them. Sometimes they think they might, but at its core, the person has this burning need to hold on to things. They can't let go. They feel like they need to save everything, or they feel terribly, terribly upset whenever they have to throw something away. And so what happens is the clutter in the home starts to build up to the point where the person can't function in their home safely or adequately anymore. So you get people with kitchens that they can no longer cook in, or bedrooms that they can't sleep in, bathrooms they can't use, and so on. So this is not just being messy.
No, and it's not just collecting things that make sense, like a bunch of baseballs. It can also be like trash, and it's like literally everything, things that we can't even really understand.
That's exactly right. I mean, to the person with hoarding disorder, often it feels like they're collecting, and often it feels like the things that they're hanging on to have value. But most of us standing outside of it would say, no, you're doing something very different from collecting. You're saving things for reasons that we can't quite understand, and then you're also kind of allowing those things to just sort of clutter up and deteriorate in your home.
What does this study aim to do? What do you want to learn from this study?
What I want to understand is when somebody does well with the treatment for hoarding disorder, which, by the way, is called cognitive behavioral therapy, what does that improvement look like in the person's brain functioning? And conversely, when somebody doesn't respond very well to the treatment, what does that look like in their brain functioning? And then we take that information back and we start making changes and tweaking the treatment so that we can maximize the things that are going well and minimize the things that are going not so well.
If there are people watching and they're eager to perhaps get involved with this study, thinking maybe they know someone or maybe they themselves could benefit here, who exactly are you looking for?
Absolutely. We're looking for people who have hoarding disorder, meaning these are people who really have a hard time throwing things away, and the clutter has gotten to the point where it's starting to impact their functioning. For this particular study, we're looking for adults that are under the age of 61. That doesn't mean we can't do some other things with people who are over the age of 61, so we encourage anybody who has hoarding disorder or thinks they might have hoarding disorder to give us a call. But it's within that particular age range that we're particularly interested in understanding what's happening in the brain.
And then when you get your findings, what will you do with it?
So what we do with that is, first of all, we make that public to the scientific profession so that they can understand their patients with hoarding disorder as well. But then we're going to start taking that and doing a series of studies trying to figure out ways to maximize the brain changes that we think are desirable and that help people make better decisions.
Well, and the one thing that is a takeaway for everybody, whether you're involved with the study or not, there's help. You don't have to live with this and let it ruin your life, and it does, right? It ruins lives and families and relationships and homes and all sorts of things. But there is help. You can reach out and get it.
Absolutely, and I think for a very long time this was a problem that nobody talked about, and people were ashamed of it. And it's only now that people are starting to recognize this is a very real disorder. It is happening in somebody's brain. It's not their fault, and there are things they can do about it.
All right. Where can people reach out to you?
All they would have to do is call us at the Institute of Living, which is 860-545-7685.
Excellent. We've got it on our screen as well. Thank you so much. Please come back. I know you're busy all the time. It's hard to get you. When you're back and you have something else going on, let us know how this goes and other projects you're working on.
Anytime.
All right. Good to see you. Let's head on over and talk more about this.